Zevahim Daf Nun Vav, continuing from Nun He Amud Bet, two lines from the bottom. Amarav Yehuda Amar Shemuel. En Hayavin Mishum Tuma Ela Al. He said, Ravida says the name Shmuel. A person is only Hayav if he's entered the Hatzer while Tameh. Only Orech Me'al Shmonim Vasheva, 187 Amot. Lengthwise, Al Rohav widthwise, by widthwise, Me'a Ushashim B'Hamesh, 135 Amot. ثلاثة أماكن من الرياض رقما. Similarly, كو عذر شحيتا 187 على رحاب 135 same number. That's the length. אמר לי سيستم حاخي אמר לי אבא ما بس ما فاصل كيقول like this كوانين منخسين الشام واخلين شام كوتش كوتشين that's where the كوانين كوتش كوتشين فش حاطين شام كوتش كوتشين they get solar the coach كوتشين ده وحبيبين مش انتوا بعد خيار for tomorrow. The says معوتي معي. What else would you have thought? Right? You basically said the entire courtyard. Okay, what are you trying to exclude? You're going to tell me that the windows, the doors, and the inside the walls themselves, meaning the so it's like the wall comes down and you stand in between the walls itself. Telling about Mishnah, it's the same thing. It's inside. Where it says, maybe you're trying to exclude the chambers of the courtyard. But the thing is that the chambers are built in non-Hekdesh place and open to Hekdesh place. But non-Tochen Kadosh, we say that if that's the case, that the interior is considered Kadosh. So there would be Chayav. Where it says, Midrabanan, the only Chayav Midrabanan, but Midraita, they are not. Where the Midraita, but not Midraita, they're not considered Kadosh. But talking about it says, Lishachot, Benuyot, the chambers that are built in the non-Hekdesh places that are open to the courtyard. Minayin shakurim nachsin sham v'achlin sham kodesh kodshim ve'shem mincha. How do we know from there that the kohenim will enter there and eat kodesh kodshim and the extra mincha korbanot? And another pasuk says, "B'hasar ohel moed yochluha." They can eat it in the courtyard of the ohel moed. HaTorah debitah hazirot harbe seemingly. Regarding eating, the Torah includes many different types of courtyards, which means that the chambers are also considered kadosh midoraita. Gemara says, "Amarava le'achila shani," that's regarding eating, but tuma no. Gemara says, "Aval yan tuma lo," but not regarding tuma. But Tana it says, "Le'shachota b'not l'chol v'tuchot kodesh kohanim nechzin l'sham v'ochlin sham kodeshim ve'eshotin sham kodeshim v'hayim mishum tuma." Boom, chayav tuma. Gemara says, "Lava mart en shohatin." The Gemara says you can't slaughter. Tana nami and hayavin. Therefore, it says you're not chayav for entering, but you're but to fix it to say that it's not chayav for entering. The Gemara says bishlama in shahatin. That's why you say you can't slaughter. Ba'ina keneged because it has to be up by the entrance. And there it's not because it's in the chamber. Ela en hayvin but why not chayav if it's considered kadosh? The Gemara says according to what you just said, en shahatin milaskin. I mean, why can't you slaughter it? The ika shahita keneged maybe you're slaughtering it opposite the entrance. The ilaka because if it wasn't, the ma'isri was the halacha. If it's not. It must be talking about a case where it's opposite and you still can't slaughter it. Because if it wasn't opposite the entrance, then of course you can't slaughter it. Ela afagav the kashahid keneged, but I'm a case where you're slaughtering it opposite the entrance, and still tana and shachatin you can't slaughter because it's in the chamber mishum de lo kadosh because it's not kadosh. Tana nami and hayvin, therefore the right to us say that you can't, you're not chayav for entering it while tameh. Where it says, but regarding eating, you don't have to be next to the opening. But it says, there were two minor, we had it yesterday, we had two small doorways in the chambers that held the knives. Govash, another eight amotot. To make the entire courtyard kasher to eat, to eat koche kochim, and slaughter koche kalim. So we see it had to be in front of the entrance. The Gemara says, "Ma'avina samim mikan achila." True, delete the eating part. You don't have to eat it. Gemara says, "Lazakti." Pasuk says, "Bashelu et hapasav betach el ma'ed v'sham tachlu oto." Cook. Pasuk says when they inaugurated the Mishkan, cook the meat by the ohel moed, and you should eat it there. The Gemara says, "No, koche sha'ashani." Over there was different because it was inauguration. There's special halachot there, but otherwise you didn't have to. Okay, Mara writes, how do you know that the blood of a korban becomes disqualified when it comes nighttime? Shnei Pasuk says, "Beyom hakrivot tzivcho yi'achel." Beyom hatzivach, when you slaughter during the day. At the makri, that's when you offer the blood to the mizbeach. Beyom yeshiyat tzivach, but if you don't slaughter that day, yet the makri, you can no longer bring it because since it disqualifies it. Because but once that pasuk needs for something else. Little Gufa to teach you the actual concept, the context of the pasuk, that water shalim can be eaten for 2 days and a night. How can you learn another thing? The Gemara says, "Imkin emakrab." If it only taught you one halacha, the pasuk should have only mentioned beyom zivcho ye'achel. You should eat the day of the korban. Hekrivu lamali. Why do you need an extra pasuk say he offers it? Shemamina beyom shetaz zoveach. The Makri teaches you On that day, you could be slaughtering, you offer the blood. If you don't slaughter that day, you can't bring the blood anymore. Rashi says, okay, Hashem is saying as follows. If you offer the blood yani, you throw the blood today. You can eat the blood today, you eat the meat today and tomorrow. But if you offer the blood tomorrow, then you have another day and a half. Seemingly saying maybe it goes by the blood and you could throw the blood tomorrow. Who says it's teaching you the blood's pasul after today? Gemara says, "Im kenim makra beyom hakrivo yachel." Pasuk should have just said, offer it and then eat it. Ziv cholami, why to mention the sacrifice? It's talui. It's intertwined, interconnected. The fact that the day that you're slaughtering, you have to offer it. And therefore, if you're not slaughtering it, you can't offer it. Okay. Eighth part says, if someone's doing the korban of shamim to they eat the meat on the third day, well, almost nighttime, hizki amar kasher, hizki is kasher, yochanan amar pasul, yochanan is pasul. Hizki amar kasher, hizki is kasher, that the halal intake l'seifa, because shamim doesn't have to be burnt yet. Therefore, it's not considered too late. Right? It's not like we said, pigul means if you're doing something beyond the right time. Now, on the third day, the shamim is pasul, but not burnt yet. Therefore, it's not pigul. Yochanan amar pasul, yochanan is pasul, daha itchel lem because technically you can't eat anymore. Therefore, it's considered to be on the right time. Right? So basically, I was saying, is it the not being able to burn it, not required to burn it, or is it just the fact that it's pasul? Where it says, "Ha'ochella or shashi," if someone eats the meat of the on the third day, his kiyama patur, his patur. The law into the sefer because you can't burn it. Because you can no longer eat it. Tanek is the proof according to Yochanan. Kodashim and Echlim Yachad. Kodashim that only eat for one day and one night. Halachas as follows: Mehashavim b'damam mishteki achma. If you have intention for the wrong day, and you have the throwing the blood after the sunset, their intention to burn the meat and the sacrificial parts when the sunrise, regarding Koshin, they have 2 days and a night, and you have intention for throwing it once it turns sunset, or you're having intention to throw the meat in the parts when it's sunrise, and intention regarding the meat once it becomes sunset on the second day. All these halachot show you that it depends on koche kalim, koche kochim, but they have the same time limits as the ability to eat. Proof according to Yochanan. Okay, Tanrabanan. Maybe you would be able to eat the meat on the time of the third day. Vidino, because logically, why would you think that? Zevahim korbanot are eaten one day, and some korbanot are eaten for 2 days. The korban is eaten for one day. You can also eat the night afterward. So maybe the shamin that's eaten for 2 days. You can also eat the night afterward, and therefore because shared that set 2.5 days. More the pasuk says regarding shmim, ad yom, until the day left over. Only you can eat it during the time, you can't eat that third night. Okay, maybe you should burn it right away if the second day ends. But you know logically why. The for korban that's eaten one day was and korban eaten for 2 days. Just like a korban eaten one day, once the day passes, you have to burn it. So the korban that's eaten for 2 days. Therefore, the burning also should follow immediately after the time you can burn, which is the beginning of the third day, the night. Therefore, the Pasuk says, you should burn on the third day. You can wait for the next day to burn it. But you don't burn it at night. Okay. New Mishnah. HaBechor v'hamaaser v'pesach. The Korban Bechor, the Maaser Korban, and the Korban Pesach Korban. Kodashim Kalim, they consider light kochim. Shiratam Yocham Akum Nazara, you can anywhere in Nazara. But the Mount Achat, you only throw one blood on the Beach. Ulachi 10 connected to as long as on the part of the Beach that had the base. Like we said, only one part did not have the base. Shina Ba'achilatan, the Korban is eaten in different ways. HaBechor Ne'achal Kohanim, the Bechor is only by the Kohanim. Ba'Maaser Bechor Adam, Maaser is by anybody. B'Ne'achal Bechor Ya'ir, and you can eat it anywhere in the city. Bechol Ma'achal prepared anyway. For 2 days and one night. HaPesach, the Korban Pesach, Eno Achal L'Layla, you can only eat it that night. Eno Achal L'Chatzot, you can only eat it at midnight. Eno Achal L'Mino, you can only eat it by those who were registered. They are people who signed up for that group. They had groups. And Beno Nachal Tzalid, and this is the only korban that needs to be roasted. Mantana, who's the author of our Mishnah that says that the korban Maaser and Pesach the blood is thrown on the Mizbeach like the Bechor. Rav Chisda, Rabbi Yosef, according to Yosef, the Tanakh says Yosef Lemer, Halbolo Ne'emar Ela Halbam. Pasuk does not say by the Bechor it's fat, rather their fat, plural. The Mao lo nemar al It doesn't say blood, it says bloods. Their bloods. The Mela Bechor Maaser Pesach teaches you all these three halachot. They all need to be thrown. Right? They includes that as plural teach you extra halachot. Kineged Yisod not. How do you know that has to be thrown like opposite the base? Mar Rabbi Elazar Atya Zrika Me'olah Hexer Shva from the word throwing from the halacha from the pasuk of Olah. The Allah Gufa Minan Hainu the Allah needs it. See what it says El Yisod Mizbeach Haolah. The Iman Allah should him therefore you see from Allah they need the Mizbeach to be thrown. The blood of the thrown Mizbeach that has the base there. Iman Allah and Shtet Tumatoch and Arbabo. And second the Allah needs two throwings, which are the corners equals four walls. Afghan over here also need two, four, but we know you said only one. Gemara says no. Amar Bayeh. Lama nichta sayyid Allah sayyid mahatat. How come the pasuk mentioned around by the olah and around by the hatat? Have shnei ketuvim habechav v'chol shnei ketuvim echad en lamdim. Did you own the famous concept? You have two pesukim teaching the same thing. It's only limited to those two times, and therefore only limited to Allah and Hatat. According to that, that's according to the holds that if you have two Pesukim teach you, you can't learn it elsewhere. What about the opinion that says that two Pesukim can teach you elsewhere, and therefore you should learn it by us also? You need two and not one throwing. Where it says, Have Asham Shoshad, the Pasuk of the Shosham is the third time, and therefore Shoshad Vadai three times mentioning the same halacha teaches you three Pesukim specifying the halacha, teaches you only over there, and therefore our halacha of our Bechor, etc., Pesach and Maaser is only one blood throwing and not the two.